The 30 nominees for the 2024 Ballon d'Or have finally been released, which include some incredible players such as Rodri, Phil Foden, Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, and Erling Haaland, among others. The list also signals the end of an era as neither Lionel Messi nor Cristiano Ronaldo, who have a combined total of 13 Ballon d'Ors, were selected on the list. This was the first time since 2003 that neither men were selected, truly signalling the passing of the guard. However, also included on this list are players like Granit Xhaka, Ademola Lookman, Artem Dovbyk, Alejandro Grimaldo, and Vitinha, as well as some other head-scratching inclusions. Now, we're not saying that these are not excellent footballers. Each player excelled during the 2023-24 campaign in their own respect, but they are not exactly what you would categorise as world-class, perhaps not even the level below world-class. There was a time when the list of Ballon d'Or nominees was so stacked with star-studded talent that it almost felt unfair that Messi and Ronaldo continued to clean up at the award ceremony. And in comparison to the latest list, it begs the question about whether or not football players, as opposed to the sport itself, has declined massively over the past decade. I'm Adam from Football Continental, and in this video we're going to compare the 2024 Ballon d'Or with 2014, 2008, and even 2018 to see if football players have truly gotten worse. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like and do subscribe to the channel as we try and bring you more of the same content. And let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Perhaps you agree, or perhaps you think we're just old men yelling at the clouds. Football makes more money than ever before. By the end of the 2022-23 season, the European football market had earned €35.3 billion in total, which is just under £30 billion, and that's just from one continent alone. Deloitte have projected that for the 2024-25 campaign, the European football market will generate €38 billion, and that the top 5 leagues alone will account for a record-breaking 20.8 billion of this. Of course, your Manchester Uniteds, Real Madrids, and Barcelonas will make up a huge part of this figure. However, just because the sport has grown richer and players are moving for eye-watering fees all over the world, it doesn't necessarily mean that footballers themselves are better. There are more games now than ever, more matches being televised than ever across the majority of countries on Earth. In fact, the Premier League alone is watched in 188 different countries and, in estimation, by 39% of the planet itself, and that doesn't take into account illegal streaming, of which is difficult to calculate. But the big question that is constantly debated is whether or not players are actually better nowadays than as recent as 10 years ago. You could probably even shorten that time period to get the same result. Unfortunately, the answer is no. Let's take a look at 2014, for instance. To add some context to this year, if you have the memory of a goldfish, Germany had just won the World Cup. Real Madrid had lifted La Decima under Carlo Ancelotti with the help of Paul Clement as his right-hand man. David Moyes was in charge of Manchester United and Real Sociedad in the same calendar year, and Lamine Yamal was just 7 years old. I think we covered all the major events of 2014 there. 23 players were in contention for the Ballon d'Or that year, of which you could probably classify at least 20 as world-class players in their day, with the exception of David Luiz, James Rodriguez, David Luiz, Mario Götze, and David Luiz. While trying to get your point across, the inclusion of Sideshow Bob in the Team of the Year certainly hasn't helped. But Sepp Blatter was in charge then, and it was a different time. Now he's hiding somewhere in the Swiss Alps. Anyway, alleged criminals aside, the 2014 Ballon d'Or list included names such as Messi and Ronaldo in their primes, Karim Benzema, Andres Iniesta, Yaya Toure, Manuel Neuer, Arjen Robben, Neymar, Toni Kroos, Angel Di Maria, Gareth Bale, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, just to name a few. And actually, Sergio Ramos himself finished bottom of the pile with the fewest votes in 23rd, which is fascinating considering he is seen as one of the best defenders to ever play the game. Everyone's favourite ice cream salesman, Iniesta, sat 17th. Ibrahimovic was 13th, Gareth Bale 12th, Paul Pogba 22nd, Yaya Toure 14th, and even Bastian Schweinsteiger was 18th. These players didn't even manage to finish inside the top 10 that year. But what made 2014 truly extraordinary was just how many generational players weren't included in the list at all. There was no Xavi, no Gerard Piqué, no Sergio Busquets, no Chewy Luis Suarez, no Steven Gerrard, no Wayne Rooney, no Robin van Persie, no John Terry, Frank Lampard, Andrea Pirlo, Carlos Tevez, Luka Modric, Marcelo, Frank Ribery, Robert Lewandowski, Cesc Fabregas, David Villa, Fernando Torres, no Ronaldinho, no Kaká, Buffon, and even Luis Suarez's favourite meal, Giorgio Chiellini, was absent. Now, we're not saying that any of these players deserve to be included in the list. Many were far past their primes, but the sheer quality of sensational players that still existed at the time showcases just how difficult it truly was to break into the Ballon d'Or. Only the absolute best of the best were included, and David Luiz. In 2024, it feels as though the organisers well and truly scraped the barrel in some instances. Dani Olmo, Barcelona's latest shiny new toy, was instrumental in helping Spain to glory at Euro 2024, with some excellent displays in the knockout phase. However, he made merely 25 appearances for RB Leipzig last season in the Bundesliga. The fact that Toni Kroos, who was included in the 2014 list, was able to dominate in the Champions League this season and is genuinely in with a shout of winning the competition despite literally retiring should tell you a lot about the current state of football. But let's go back even further now, all the way to 2008, and we'll add some context again because some of you may not have even been born. Manchester United were champions of England and Europe. Manchester City had just been taken over by Abu Dhabi investors. That won't end well. Pep Guardiola had just been appointed manager at Barcelona. The entire world was about to fall to absolute shit after a mortgage crisis. Barack Obama had been elected president of the United States, and Lamine Yamal was just 1 year on this beautiful earth. The Ballon d'Or published a list of its 30 nominees, which included some sensational talents. Ronaldo, Messi, Torres, Casillas, Xavi, Villa, Ibrahimovic, Kaká, Gerrard, Lampard, Rooney, Ribéry, Samuel Eto'o, Buffon, Fabregas, Michael Ballack, Didier Drogba, Sergio Ramos, Nemanja Vidic, Edwin van der Sar, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Benzema, and Pepe were all on it. Not on the list, but still playing, were guys like Clarence Seedorf, Ronaldinho, Pippo Inzaghi, Pirlo, Rio Ferdinand, Patrice Evra, Tevez, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Alessandro Nesta, Thierry Henry, Terry, Ricardo Carvalho, David Trezeguet, Javier Zanetti, Patrick Vieira. Need I go on any further? However, you may still be sitting there thinking we're just nostalgia merchants and remember players to be better than they actually were. If so, okay, let's take a look at a more recent time. Let's go back just 6 years from now to 2018. When France were world champions, Donald Trump was president, Huddersfield Town were in the Premier League, Mark Hughes and Neil Warnock were also there too, and nobody knew what an ice spice was. It was simpler times. The nominees for that year were absolutely star-studded. Aging players from today were in their primes and were all competing for the greatest individual honour on earth. Some of these include, again, Messi and Ronaldo, Mbappe, Mohamed Salah, Eden Hazard, Kevin De Bruyne, Harry Kane, N'Golo Kante, Neymar, Suarez, Pogba, Bale, Benzema, Sadio Mane, Ramos, and even Isco, just to name a few. You remember Isco? You remember how good Isco was? 2018 felt like the true passing of the guard from the old generation to the one we see now. The likes of Rooney, Van Persie, Toure, Dani Alves, David Silva, Aguero, Ronaldo, Chiellini, Bonucci, Marcelo, Piqué, Casillas, Iniesta, Busquets, Xavi, Company, among others, were all coming to the end of the road or were past their best. Guys like Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Vinny Jr., Joshua Kimmich, Gigi Donnarumma, Mbappe and Haaland were all coming through and were looking to take their places at the top of the food chain. The point of this video was not simply to bash modern football or to even cry about nostalgia, but merely to see whether players overall had actually worsened. Sure, there are guys like Mbappe and Haaland, Salah, De Bruyne, Rodri, Kane and Phil Foden from the present day who could still hang with the big dogs of 10, 20 years ago. But perhaps the best turn of phrase would be to say that the ceiling hasn't necessarily lowered, but the floor certainly has. Outside of the top 5 or 10 players in the modern game, can you really call anyone world class anymore? Even look at someone like Jude Bellingham, who has a great chance of winning the Ballon d'Or this season. He certainly scored more goals, but overall, were his performances better than that of Paul Pogba at Juventus or Iniesta at Barcelona, both of which didn't even get close to winning in 2014? We're not so sure. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. In the sequel to this video, perhaps we'll look at why players are worse now than 10 or 20 years ago, and how tactics have turned footballers of the modern day into robots. Until next time, I've been Adam from Football Continental, and I'll see you all soon.